Hey there, guys. All right, today we are back with some more potential history. This time, returning to Meme Tanks. This time, Meme Tanks 5, not an electric boogaloo. Before I dive in, make sure you go and check out the links in the description box below. I would love it if you checked out the Kickstarter and read the prologue and first 5 chapters. You can read those for free down in the link. First 5 chapters of my book, Ascension and Remembrance. Yeah, that's really all I have to say here. Um, by the time this gets uploaded, I think the uh, YouTube is no longer recommending my videos again. But for a while, for a good few days, the Girls on Panzer videos were getting recommended, and that came at a pretty good time for me, because I was like getting pretty beaten up over the fact that YouTube just was not recommending my videos, despite good video per video analytics. Um, so how the progress of this channel, we can update it. Salmonella gave birth to the channel. Overly Sarcastic Productions funded the channel, funded my college. And then I went to a very cheap college. And Potential History here saved it and essentially gave me the energy to keep going for a while longer, because I was really fucking getting sick of YouTube, because YouTube really wasn't fucking doing shit for me. But hopefully YouTube recommends other videos of mine. That'd be nice, because my videos have good watch time, YouTube. They hit the numbers you want them to hit. Why don't you push them out? Anyways, let's dive in. Starring the Vickers 600. Look at that beauty. 01. Look at that beauty. And the Sturm Tiger. Can't really see it, it's very blurry. Probably a costume. God damn it, John Stamos.
This video is sponsored by the free-to-play online game War Thunder. Go to my link in the description for a free premium tanker aircraft and 3 days of premium time for signing up. More on that in a second. In the last few iterations of meme tanks, I've gone with themes for the videos and the vehicles selected. But the other day, I went back and watched Meme Tanks 2, probably my favorite one if I'm being honest, and decided that for this one, I really
Was Meme Tanks 2 my favorite one? I can't remember. Was that the one I laughed at the most? I
want to go back to the old system of picking 3 for no specific reason other than they make me laugh. Something that I think has been lost in translation with the recent videos. With a lot of people thinking a meme tank means a bad tank, when a lot of the designs I pick are actually really capable vehicles, they just have some sort of quirk or thing that sets them apart that makes them memeable. A phenomenon that I think is perfectly relayed in our first vehicle.
And remember, you only take it when you need it.
The Vickers 6-ton was actually a fair...
Even though it was used by many countries, I could not find any footage of a running Type E, the tank I am talking about here, so there will be other stuff on screen. If anyone knows of any, let me know. It's so odd something exported so much doesn't have any film on it. Yeah, that's weird.
Really old tank by the time it was being used on a large scale. Designed in 1928 by the Vickers Armstrong Company, it was a fairly cheap, simple, and reliable tank that, after working out some of the kinks and going through a few different model types, was presented to the British Army, where it was quickly rejected by them.
Oh.
They had more important things to invest in, like Christie suspension, and felt that the 6-tonner didn't have the cross-country capability they wanted. It was at this point, though, that it was put onto the world market as a type of low-cost form of armor design, and like a brand-name wonder drug, began being sold all over the world to cure armies of armor-tile dysfunction. Are you having trouble with home defense? Is your neighbor's military might interfering with your daily life? Talk to your Minister of Defense about Vickers 6-ton, a cheap and effective way to secure your military might and secure your borders. Don't let your enemies keep you from running your own country, and get the defensive power that you need. Make the switch to an armored battalion of Vickers 6-ton today. Ask your generals if your military is healthy enough for war. Do not import Vickers 6-tonners if your country is under military sanctions. Side effects may include increased fuel consumption,
God
large
damn it.
numbers of enemy anti-tank guns, and dependence on roads for transport. To avoid long-term attrition, get diplomatic help for a conflict lasting more than 4 years. The Vickers 6-ton. The design really came into its own when the generic version of the tank in the form of foreign developments began being created locally by several countries. Most notably, the Polish 7TP and the Soviet T-26, which they created in eye-watering numbers of up to 11,000 in upwards
Damn.
of 53 different variants, which were themselves exported to other countries from the Soviet Union, showing up in conflicts like the Spanish Civil War and in China against the Japanese.
Huh.
You'd even have Vickers-type models fighting other Vickers-type models during the Soviet invasion of Poland and during the Winter War, where the Finn used their own 6-ton tanks, not to very good effect, against T-26s, but later capturing and reusing T-26s against Soviet T-26s in the Continuation War. By the late
Fucking Uno
30s,
reverse.
the Vickers design had replaced the FT for the world's idea of what tanks were supposed to be, and was one of the designs most widely used in these small conflicts popping up, eventually culminating in the Second World War. It was British engineering that was being used as one of the biggest mechanical death-dealing machines across the planet, creating a very understandable sense of patriotism in British subjects, looking back on their ingenuity, driving forward the tools of war-making, showing that the influence of British ideas was not waning, although their empire may have been, announcing to the world that—
Oh god, we don't need to give the British this, okay? The British already have a massive, overly inflated ego, okay? And they're fucking annoying. There are gonna be so many angry British people in the comments.
Development of better anti-tank guns, though, caused the demise of the machine, with the last large-scale use of them being in 1945 in Manchuria by the Red Army against the Japanese.
The O1. I've never heard of this one. Mysterious Lady of the Light?
The OI is a Japanese super heavy tank
Oh.
that was
That's an I? Looked like a 1 to me.
largely forgotten until it was catapulted into common knowledge from being included in a lot of tank simulator games. The gigantic multi-turreted design really sticks out from the other tanks used by the Japanese military that are known for being smaller, lighter designs originating in the 1930s. This vehicle, like many other things to do with the Japanese army, was once again a result of the Japanese army's rough experience in Mongolia against the Soviets in 1939. The Japanese Chief of Army Affairs after the incident ordered Colonel Matra of the 4th Technical Research Institute to create a, quote, giant chariot used as a mobile pillbox on the vast plains of Manchuria, with the idea being that this large vehicle, immune to anti-tank guns, would be the spearhead of a Japanese attack accompanied by lighter tanks and mobile infantry that would be able to destroy enemy anti-tank gun positions and open up the way for the rest of the armored force. And the requirements for the tank were that it was to be about twice the weight and size in all areas as the Type 95 heavy tank. The project began its life under the name Mito, and similarly to the supersized battleships that the Japanese made, the project for the supersized tanks was extremely secretive. The plans were ready by 1941 and construction began. The lack of funding and the extreme secrecy of the project dragged the whole process out into 1943, about 4 times longer than was planned. Once finally completed enough for testing, it was renamed the OI, and on the day of testing, it's claimed to have weighed 96 tons, excluding the turret and 75mm of bolt-on front armor. During trials, the vehicle damaged its suspension and sunk into the mud. Once it was recovered and fixed, it was tested again on a concrete surface that apparently utterly destroyed and damaged its suspension again, to where it was eventually scrapped sometime in 1943 or 44, possibly after some time sitting untouched in a field in one of the testing grounds. And all that is left of the vehicle today is a single track link. Now, this is the official story of the OI, but as some of you may know, it's a whole lot more complicated than that. A lot of the information about the tank comes mostly from the memories of engineers who worked on it, with only a few documents to back up their claims with. For example, in Hara's book,
It's kind of sounding like some people think maybe this thing never existed in the first place then? Or like...
he says that the main gun was 105mm, whereas design documents and blueprints say it was 150, and there are all sorts of discrepancies like this with the design. The total weight for a long time was thought to be 150 tons, but that's recently been called into question and regarded as untrue. Even within the story of the tank's development, there are a lot of discrepancies to do with the timeline, how many prototypes were built, and how the thing was scrapped, if it even was scrapped, with some saying that it was dropped into a lake after surviving until 1945, and so on. everywhere I looked when researching for this video, I got different answers with a lot of articles and book chapters basically ending with this big shrug and the authors saying that they just don't know for sure. In 2015, original documents were found and purchased by the Fine Molds Company to make models with, and they allow people to look at the documents after paying a rather steep price to do so. But a lot of people who have done this didn't cite their sources for what they later write about on the OI, which may be some kind of legal thing as part of being able to see them. And the whole story is just a mess and one of the biggest head scratchers as far as World War II tanks go, and a really unique story for a vehicle, which makes the OI for me the most mysterious tank of World War II, having one of the most memeable traits with the sheer amount of mystery surrounding it.
Oh yeah. Damn, boy.
In the early days of the channel, I made a video about the Sturmtiger, and even though the video did pretty well, I get requests for it to be in a Meme Tanks video all the time, and you know I'm here to please.
Nice.
The Sturmtiger was a late war variant of the Bunker Buster infantry support vehicle. Because as German tanks got big dickier, this categories of vehicles got bigger as well, and you know the joke I'm gonna make. The Sturmtiger, created out of surplus late war Tiger I hulls, with the exception of the prototype being on an early war chassis, mounted a 380mm L5.4 chip gun that, unlike previous vehicles of this type, actually used a two-stage rocket system. The first stage blowing the projectile from the barrel, and the second stage being a rocket propulsion system inside the projectile that would launch the monstrous warhead to its target. And all these vehicles were pretty scruffy. As I mentioned in previous videos, the Germans are notorious for changing a lot of features on their tanks within a production run.
Yeah.
But the Sturmtiger takes this to a whole new level, with changes being made between each of the 18 units built.
Oh my
Mostly
God.
as a product of being developed and manufactured kind of at the same time. Once created, they were split up into 3 armored assault mortar companies, with Company 1000 seeing the first and only time the vehicle was used in its role at the Warsaw Uprising, where it knocked buildings down as it was intended to. The vehicles also saw service in the Ardennes Offensive and around Remagen, with a less than stellar performance as they were often found abandoned by the side of the road by bewildered GIs after they ran out of fuel or ammunition and could not keep moving. And the vehicle itself is really a fun quirk in the annals of armored warfare, and as I said in my previous video, really kind of sums up to me how out of touch a lot of the German army was with their actual position in the war at this point. Spending resources on a vehicle that is intended for offensive capabilities when they've been on their back foot for a good while now. And if you ask me, the real genius of this design lies in the additional escape hatch via the gun tube that the vehicle provided. You know, they say the Sherman was the most survivable tank of the war, but you can't launch yourself out of the gun of a burning Sherman. You gotta get yourself out using a lame old hatch there. And this is the real kind of German ingenuity that has kind of brought me around to see what all those angry people in my Germany Can't Win World War II videos as comment sections are on about. You may only have a handful of shells, and it may be a near Herculean task for the only 4 crew members allotted to the vehicle to load and fire the thing. But being able to slide out of the gun tube like an absolute mad lad in a time of emergency, now that takes some real engineering foresight. Thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring.
And that was Meme Tanks 5. I didn't really have anything to say here because there really wasn't anything to say. I just don't know tanks, man. Part of why I ended up not watching reacting to Potential History for quite a while, because, you know, he's primarily tank stuff. And I really don't know shit about tanks. I really don't. I'm, you know, more of a, not the finer detail kind of person. I'm more of the bigger picture kind of guy, of historical movements and things like that. But this was enjoyable. Not my favorite meme tanks though. I don't know which one's the favorite because it's been a while. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.